Hello, everybody out there. Welcome to the weekly wrap up. Last week I had no idea what was going to happen. This week was going to happen. And man, did it happen. All right, let's start with North Korea. Let's just kick the can, right back in someone else's court. China and Russia, they've decided they don't want to have war on their doorstep, and who can blame them? Let's say Argentina had some nukes, right? And they wanted to put them in Mexico. You think for a second we would want that to happen? Oh, wait a minute, we had something like that. It was called the Cuban Missile Crisis, when the Soviet Union wanted to put missiles in Cuba. We weren't going to have that, the potential of war right next to us, right in our face. It's not a perfect analogy, but it kind of describes what Russia and China are thinking about. They're like, oh shit, America's just off the coast. They're going to go to war with North Korea. We got to put a stop to that. So it looks like that might be happening. And what's the deal with North Korea anyway? I don't understand. How did they all of a sudden develop this technology? Right? They have made real advancements in their missile technology, apparently in their nuclear technology. And I know it's taken them years and years to get there, but they've finally gotten there, and they seem to be doing a lot better. Where at first their rockets barely seemed to get off the ground, barely seemed to get out to sea, now they're shooting them thousands of kilometers straight up. Fast advances, very interesting. Now, where did they get that technology from? Did they suddenly develop it? Did they finally learn how to do math? Or was it given to them? Makes me wonder. The concept of assassination. Taking out Kim Jong-un. That is not off the table. At least I can't believe that the CIA all of a sudden would become moral, right, and follow the laws that say assassination is not allowed. If that happens, though, if Kim Jong-un is assassinated, or let's just say he dies under mysterious circumstances, and the CIA doesn't have anything to do with it, what do you think China and Russia will think of that? How about the North Korean people? How about the Japanese? Will they appreciate it? Will they not? Will the United States fall into lower levels of distrust with both enemies and allies? Right? Because if Kim Jong-un just happens to die, right, everyone is going to start calling whoever they know anywhere near Langley, Virginia, and start asking questions. So if you can't assassinate Kim Jong-un, how do we take him out? Does he need to be taken out? These are all big questions, right? Well, how about the use of a EMP or some sort of clean weapon? Some sort of very technical weapon that'll just take out Pyongyang, whatever the name of their capital is, and not take out Seoul, not affect Vladivostok, not screw with China. Right? How do you do that? How do you do that? Is probably a question they've been asking for some time. Well, obviously it hasn't been done. The lights are still on, right? And do they direct it at the capital city in North Korea if they've got some sort of high-tech clean weapon? Are they going to be able to penetrate the layers of dirt down into these underground bunkers where their science labs are? How do you take those out? Or do you just take out all of their power? And if we do that, we meaning the Allies, the United States, the aliens, if they want to take out just the military, how do they do that without taking out all of the electrical system, the grid, the computers, the manufacturing that they have, the real assets? The real value of that country is in its people and the technology that's there, but how do you take out just the bad parts and don't destroy the country? Literally, their electrical system, their computers, their refrigerators, their food. They do have food there, not enough, but they do have it. Do we risk killing 5%, 10%, 20%, 50% of every North Korean in an effort to get Kim Jong-un out of there? Right? So that leads us to the question, well, is war the only option? Ground troops. And all of this is being discussed this week. This is just this week. Ground troops. Are we going to go in with ground troops and risk the use of nuclear weapons by South and North Korea on whoever's fighting wherever? And another question that I have is, do the powers that be, the military-industrial complex, the bankers, do they have to have war? Or is war being threatened and we're kind of all being held hostage in North Korea, South Korea, Japan, the U.S.? Are we all hostage to some sick game that's being played? Moving on, back over to the stock market, and we've covered it a bit this week. Right? Bitcoin was up 30%, and now, at the end of the week, it's down around 25% from that high. Maybe a little more. Now, my contention that this is a test run to see how quick and how far they could run it up, and then run it back down. Why? What are they testing? You know, the Dow maintains its all-time high levels. It's just hovering up there, right? Floating up there like a hot air balloon. I guess that was an appropriate reference, isn't it? A big fat balloon. Now it's called the everything bubble or the everything balloon. Everything's in it. It's all in the basket together. They're all up there, hyperinflated. Lots of good information on YouTube. Lots of good information on the internet in general about every place that this economy, and not just in the United States, but the whole world is there. And a lot of discussion about how only a couple of dominoes are going to need to fall to bring the whole system down. If the EU comes down, down comes the United States. What can bring the EU down? How about Italy and its banking issues? Well, there's just one way. That's just one example, right? It's at an all-time high, but how stable is it? Right? You can build a house of cards. You can complain about it being a house of cards, but they built them tall. But it takes just one card being flipped out, and the balance that's holding it all up just comes out from underneath it. Scary, scary stuff. Now, this week, a lot of interesting things indicating coming recession. With regard to recessions in the economy, there's been a lot of indicators that have been out for many months and people are pointing to them. People are flashing red lights, waving signs, recession coming. Right? One of those is bonds. The bond yields. They are buying them up. They're protecting everything that they can. Apparently someone has a really big truckload of money somewhere and they don't mind shoveling it around to hold this up. It's really quite interesting. EU banks are in trouble, as we discussed. You know, all banks seem to be in trouble. The banks seem to be covering for the central banks, and the central banks seem to be handing money out to the smaller banks. But there's a lot of discussion. Over in the EU, they're going to have to cut their version of quantitative easing. Here in the United States, they're talking about the same thing. But can the market hold it up? Can the economy sustain itself? The consensus is no. If it can't contain or hold itself up now, what is going to change in the new year that will allow it? Or is it just something that has to happen? It's now time to start letting it slide, right? Cheese slides off the cracker, we're all in trouble. Thanks to Dave over at the X22 report, he started talking about the earnings estimate revision ratio, the right? It is another indicator that predicts recession. We keep getting these lining up. You know, store closings, layoffs, manufacturing plant closings. It's just one thing after another. And frankly, I don't know how it's being held up if it were not for all of this quantitative easing, which appears to be going bye-bye along with an increase in the rates. They can't lower them anymore to stimulate the economy. And if lowering stimulates the economy, or at least frees up capital, makes it easier to get, I don't know what they think they're going to do by raising the rates. Because if we're looking at banks closing and all kinds of problems, I don't think people are going to rush back to banks and put their cash in it, if they had any, for a measly 1%. I have stayed off this topic all week long. Over in Jerusalem, we have some prophetic events happening. That is, Bible prophecy talks about the temple being rebuilt, the temple being torn down, the temple being rebuilt, the temple being torn down. There's tons of prophecy. You can find in the Bible, if you do it right, the winner from every Super Bowl, but you can only see it after the fact, right? That's just, people look to it for everything. Some of it's legitimate, some of it's not, right? But what's going on now? Well, Trump has decided to accept what the Israelis say is their capital. They want to say that Jerusalem is their capital city. And so Trump is like, okay, fine, I'll put an embassy over there. It's just an office. But all of a sudden, this acceptance, I don't know, the moving of an embassy creates chaos in the streets, right? Arguments, assaults, attacks, terror, chaos, fulfillment of biblical prophecy. It's not Trump, right? The Israelis have been saying this. And Jews and Muslims and Christians, they all want to be right. They want to be correct. They want to be, blessed. They want to be perfect. It's scary. Because to me, what I see here is a bunch of religio-emotional, 5,000-year-old, or up to 5,000-year-old hatred. And a belief that they're correct, right? It's crazy to me that they want to use everything and anything as an excuse to fight over in the Holy Land. Over what? Right? I know what it's over. But really, to be right, that's what it's all about? Everything is an excuse to fight. And that's where we're at now with these people, over there yet again. And they're using this as an excuse to do it. Up on the Temple Mount is the Al-Aqsa Mosque, the Dome of the Rock. It's a holy place. I think it's the third most holy place for Muslims, and it's the most holy place, that area, I believe, for Jews. Christians are all over the place. To me, it's incredible that they're fighting over this one chunk of desert. Now, I understand all the religious implications. People going up and coming down from heaven, etc., etc., etc. I understand that, but is it really worth killing everyone over? Is it worth starting World War III over in the Holy Land? I mean, maybe they're jealous that North Korea is getting all the attention and they need to start a war there. To me, it's ridiculous. Right? To me, God is in the heart. But they want to put him on a rock. If the Jews start rebuilding the temple, that means something. Everything that is done over there has some prophetic meaning. And if they're not careful, these people who are all out of their mind, they're religious zealots. All of them. And they just want to kill each other. And I don't understand the need to do it. Right? And I guess I could get myself all worked up and believe something and then insist that everyone accept my version of reality, and then if you don't, then I'm going to kill you. I mean, that's the mentality we're dealing with here. There's something wrong with all of those people. There is. There's something wrong with them. I know that there's a lot of religious fervor. But there's something wrong when you have to kill somebody else because of your belief system. The belief system that that guy who's not hurting you is hurting you. It's hard for me to get there. I guess I could if I worked myself up into a frenzy, but I don't do that, right? Instead, I would rather enjoy myself and enjoy life. Again, some people think I don't, but I do. I enjoy life tremendously. But these people, they're into something entirely different. And it could drag the United States into it. I know that the King of Jordan, I know that other potentates in the Holy Land and the immediate surrounding areas, they're very upset over Trump's decision. What are you and I to think of that? What can we do about it? We can understand it. We can feel bad for them. Send them good karma. Say some prayers. Jeez, right? What the heck? But it can happen. What if a terrorist decides to blow up the Al-Aqsa Mosque, the dome, that big gold dome? Blow it up. Well, do we just scrape the thing? Right? What is going to happen when one of these groups, these radicalized groups on either side, really starts escalating this to a war inside of Jerusalem? Right? Several times the Jews rebelled against the Romans, and the Romans expelled the Jews out of Israel, if you can believe that. Out of their own country. Everyone out! Right? Sounds like your mother. Everyone out of the house! The Romans kicked every Jew out of Jerusalem, out of the land of Israel, in, I think, 66 AD. Wow. Right? They didn't leave one rock standing on top of another. Is that what we're going to see if these idiots have their way? Stand by. I'm not going to just sit here and complain about YouTube, but I'm going to tell you guys some interesting stuff, right? Today, the Money GPS, and I like that guy. He's very polite, he's soft-spoken, he's articulate, he gets his version of reality out. He's soft. He's a financial guy. He's soft-core. I mean, he explains things. It's just, if you met this guy, you would probably say, hey, let's get a cup of coffee and just bullshit. Let's talk. Let's rap, Nice guy. He got a strike over a video he did discussing Bitcoin. He appealed it, and he claims that within half an hour he got a letter back. Now, he put his letters up, and I recognized him. I know he's legit. He's not just bitching. Right? But this guy doesn't cuss. He doesn't do any violence. He's just thoughtfully discussing financial matters. The Money GPS. Strike. If they're going to strike one of his videos and then say, no, that was legitimate strike. We're not taking that back. You earned that, mister. I'm wondering what pussy at YouTube thought he was offensive or broke some rule. Right? So, as far as I'm concerned, he can pretty much kiss his ass goodbye. It may take them another week or another month and a half to get to the next strike, but they'll get there. Because it takes 3 months for a strike to go off the record. 3 months. In 3 months, they're going to find a couple more of his Bitcoin videos, and they're going to let him have it. Now, on the other hand, James Yeager, hardcore, Second Amendment, constitutionalist, with a massive group, huge following, huge commercial venture, a brick and mortar guy who actually does tactical training. Removed, gone from YouTube. The point of me bringing these two up in this video at the week's end, at the weekly wrap-up, is no one on here, or I should say no one over there, because we are on Patreon. Right? Now, I guess they could come and get me here, couldn't they? Well, fuck them. I'll just go somewhere else, and you'll know where it's at. You'll find it. You'll hear about it. Right? But no one is safe. A friend of mine today was complaining, hey, man, deer meat for dinner. That's my channel. That guy gets messed with. He's going to be gone. I didn't go check it out, but he was pretty upset. Deer meat for dinner. It doesn't matter if it's something that the tree-hugging, bunny-loving, snowflake, I don't know. I don't know how to describe them other than to say, right, guys, wake up. There's a real world out here that's going on. It's happening. But if you are alternative anything, an alternative meal, right, an alternative historian as far as they're concerned, because James Yeager can't be right about our right to keep and bear arms, or anyone talking about anything that upsets anyone anywhere, which is what the snowflakes are, they're waiting to be offended. You will be taken off YouTube. Right. Now, the Money GPS, buddy, you've got just a matter of weeks to get to a new platform before they hammer your ass into the ground like a railroad spike. I like that guy. He's got good information. I wake up, I get a cup of coffee, right, sitting at my desk listening to the Money GPS. Nice. James Yeager, I get a little angry. It's time to start talking guns. Go over there. Gone. They should have come to Patreon. They should have gone to Daily Motion. They should have gone anywhere. Anywhere. You know, and we can't get enough, fast enough, some website somewhere that has the ability to protect free speech. It needs to be created. Patreon's doing a pretty good job. Right? It's not YouTube. It doesn't have the audience. It's not easy to find, right? But at least it's a safe haven for now. And hopefully it's a safe haven for years to come. Or until shit hits the fan and then look out anyways. But this is an epic battle. An epic battle over free speech. The First Amendment to the Bill of Rights of the United States Constitution, which created a republic which recognized you and me as the sovereigns. That is, the kings of the land. And they are taking it out. You can't just punish everybody you don't like. We'll see. We'll see if Prager can win that. But it's going to take, what, 2, 3, 5 years? What about appeals? Right? If they get all of us off of here, then these clowns, these snowflake pussies that run YouTube and run Google and want to run everything else, they're going to do their best to shut us up so that only their voices can be heard. Right? And people that want to hear something else, they're not going to hear it because we'll all be gone. That's what they want. And so you and I have a duty to stand up and fight against that. Right? My duty and how I'm living it is by continuing to operate through Patreon. Right? To continue to operate through the preparedmind.club. While Facebook is up, we've got our Facebook account for people who like Facebook. And I'm just trying to make it easy for people to get what they need. Right? And that's what this weekly wrap-up is about. It's telling you what's going on this week and where we're going. And we're going to shit. We're going to hell in a handbasket. So you need to get prepared. Right there, we got food, water, assistance with shelter, clothing, definitely. Some medicines, we have links to antibiotics, but we also have first aid kits, right? And a means of self-defense. We have self-defense items for sale there, and we have links out. We're going to continue to do things like this where there's Prepper Connect, where you can meet other preppers to form prepper groups. I don't think anyone else really has a good one of those yet. Maybe there's a couple. There needs to be a lot more. That much I can say. Right? But there's blogs, forums, everything there. So head on over there or direct people to go there. And I want to thank you guys again. Thank you for supporting the Prepared Mind broadcast here at Patreon. You know, without you guys, I would be that channel on your television when you were a kid, right? You turn the channel to channel 8, and there's nothing on channel 8. It's just static or black. That's what I would be again. Right, like this. It would look like this. That's it. That's the Prepared Mind channel, black. That's it. Right? So Semper Fi to you all. Chance favors the Prepared Mind is yours. Right? I want to thank you guys again. Have a great weekend, and hopefully we have a calm weekend, or you'll be hearing from me sooner rather than later. I'll talk to you soon. That's a good scotch. Playtime is over. Get your Prepared Mind merchandise at thepreparedmind.club. Help keep free speech free and spread the word about the need to prep.